our question for today, KJB?
Is technology making people lazy?
Is technology making people lazy? What are your thoughts out there, beautiful listeners? Do you think that technology is making people lazy? What would you say, yes or no? Give us a shout. So come and join us in the chat room at www.allflavasradio. But before we get into our main topic, we are going to be speaking on something quite serious, actually, for our first segment of the show. And that is that new data shows Black community aren't confident they could spot the signs of a heart attack.
Wow.
Do you think that's too early, KJB, to discuss something like this? What do you think?
No, because the weird thing is with a heart attack, there are other symptoms that you might think is not related to that particular illness.
Yeah.
And we know heart attacks are sudden in that you get little warning signs, but when it hits, and you have to act. That's why they say fast.
Yes.
Face. What's the other one? Face.
I thought that was for stroke.
That's stroke, isn't it? I thought it was heart attack.
I'm not too sure. Face, is it arms or something? Do they get pain?
Face, arms, slurring speech.
And then time, right?
Time, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not too sure. We'll go in and find out a bit.
Stroke. I'm sure it's heart attack.
I think it's stroke, but
that's stroke.
It's all the same. We still have to act quickly when it comes to
heart attack. You still act quickly. So it's good to highlight this because it's, as you said, it's the confidence of us as the Afro-Caribbean African population. If we're not sure, then the time that we're dithering or not making a decision
is precious time. That's right, because a new survey published by the NHS revealed a lack of confidence in the community in recognising the symptoms of a heart attack. And with over 1/3, that's 37% of Black people saying they were not confident that they could recognise the signs. So furthermore, almost half, that's 45%, claimed they would not call 999 if they or a loved one was displaying chest pains. And the most common symptom, and that is the most common symptom of heart attack.
Tightening off the chest, restricting of the airways. Your face will change colour. There are things that you will, especially with this, if they're gripping their chest and showing you their that is a short side of a heart. And it's so surprising that if someone is presenting that with that particular sign and symptom, I'm surprised that only a small minority would know to call an ambulance, and some wouldn't even call because they wouldn't associate what they're seeing as a heart attack.
They said almost half, 45%. That's a very high statistic.
That's mad.
So NHS England, they want help. Okay, so they're raising this awareness, and they're starting a campaign to raise that awareness against heart attack symptoms and to help. This will help save people's lives. So heart attack symptoms, they can vary from person to person. And like you said earlier, KJB, they can include squeezing across the chest, feeling uneasy, or unease. Well. They don't always feel the severe pains until it kind of hits, And there's other symptoms such as, like you said, was it shortness of breath? Anything else?
Maybe back pain as well.
Feeling sick.
Feeling sick, might get pain in the jaw, in the face.
Yeah.
Slightly different from stroke, isn't it? It's slightly different.
And they're saying, what NHS London are saying is that we should call the ambulance. If there's anyone's having these symptoms, that we should call 999. Because like we said, time is a factor.
Yeah, time is a major factor.
So what are people's chances of surviving a heart attack? Overall, what are the chances of someone surviving a heart attack?
Well, overall, 7 out of 10 people can survive a heart attack if they receive treatment in a timely fashion. That's what we have to emphasise that.
So it's also highlights that over, like you said, 7 out of 10 that survive a heart attack, and 9 out of 10 if they reach the hospital early enough to receive. So that's quite high. If you reach the hospital early enough, almost everyone can survive a heart attack. Now, we are speaking here that from data shows that the Black community that we're not confident to spot the signs of a heart attack. Yeah, and this Carol Ighofose is a GP and a heart attack survivor, and she said she cannot stress enough the importance of getting things checked out if you have any of these symptoms. Heart attacks are more frequent in men, but women are certainly at risk too, and particularly as they get older. She said she had pain that felt like indigestion, which can again be a common sign, but people don't always know that. The pain wasn't severe. However, being a GP, she knew that it didn't matter and that she needed to do something quickly.
And but that's the problem, isn't it? Because I'm not being kind of breaking it down too much, but because she was a GP, she realised there was a sign or symptom that made her react quickly.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there who are not, what's the word? I've got to put
savvy or aware.
There's a term, not health conscious, have poor health education.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say. Have poor health education.
Yeah.
And therefore are not literate to when it comes to their health and well-being. That's the issue. This is what this is highlighting to me.
And it made the point that almost 73% of Black respondents said that they were unaware of the difference between heart attack and cardiac arrest. So there is a difference, because I didn't know that there was a difference between the two.
What's that? So a difference between
heart attack and cardiac arrest. And that almost 2/3, that's 59%, wrongly believing cardiac arrest is another name for heart attack. So a cardiac arrest, is it different? It is different.
Yeah, because a cardiac arrest is when your heart completely stops.
Right.
That's a cardiac arrest when your heart stops. A heart attack, your heart is still beating, but it's
working overtime.
Yeah, it's working overtime, and obviously a heart attack can also lead to a cardiac arrest because of the stress on the heart. But a cardiac arrest is slightly different, because if you have a cardiac arrest, you could be unless you get, again, it's the same thing, treatment quickly.
Yeah. So you can come back from both of them, right?
Yeah. But the thing with cardiac arrest, sometimes because it starves, with a cardiac arrest, it can starve the brain of oxygen. So although you can come back from a cardiac arrest, sometimes the long-term effects can be
damaging.
Anything.
So those from Black backgrounds, they have greater risk of high blood pressure compared with the cider population, and this key risk factor can bring on heart attacks. And it's important for us to be particularly vigilant about these signs and act quickly. Okay, so we said if there's certain things like shortness of breath, pain in the chest, she said that it felt like indigestion, didn't she? And various other things. We're going to go a bit deeper into what some of these symptoms are. Then we have to call 999 straight away. Okay, the longer you leave it, what happens when it comes to the longer that one leaves?
Well, you can end up dying. Basically, I'm talking about the worst case scenario. Death, because we said 7 out of 10 people can recover, 9 out of 10 people can recover. That's the difference between a cardiac arrest, because a cardiac arrest, sometimes you can't recover. Do you know what I mean? But it shows that you can recover from a heart attack. But like we're saying, you've got to understand the signs and symptoms, and this is what we're talking about, being health educated.
Yeah,
some
being
people
aware.
are not literate in the sense they don't understand, but just when it comes to their health, they're not educated enough.
And this is why we do segments like this on the show, beautiful listeners, because to be forewarned is to be forearmed, as they say. So we never know. We could be with someone, and a good friend of mine, he went to put the bins out, and he had a heart attack, and he could have possibly been saved had people known and what to do in that situation. I saw a video recently as well where there was a man in a crowd and he had a heart attack and he passed out. And what they did, they was patting his left arm. They were really hitting it. There were two doctors there, and they were hitting his left arm, like really hitting it, and that revived him. I didn't realise
that was on the left side, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a way to revive as well. So that's what they were doing, and it worked on him. Thankfully, he was okay. But while the most common symptom of heart attack is chest pain, symptoms can vary from person to person, and other symptoms of heart attack can include, what can they include, KJB?
Well, pain down your left arm, which we're talking about, like you said, they were hitting the left arm, so it can sometimes get pain. Normally it's the left, because of the heart's on the left side. Fuzziness, lightheadedness, dizziness, sweating.
Feeling pressure or pain or pressure.
On the chest. Yeah, we're talking about sweating. Yeah. We talked about the breathing, isn't it? Yeah. Nausea. Feeling sick, vomiting.
And it's pains in the other side of the body as well, right?
Yes, you can get pain on the other side of the body. An overwhelming feeling of anxiety, like a panic attack.
That's interesting, like a panic attack. You wouldn't really see. So these are symptoms that you'd relate to.
Maybe other things.
Yeah.
Not necessarily having a heart attack.
Yeah. And like we said, feeling pain in the jaw or the back or the stomach, which the lady said about indigestion, didn't she?
And that's another thing. If you say, oh, I feel like I've got indigestion, you're not necessarily going to associate someone telling you that with a possible heart attack. It's just, oh, you must have let something. Go and lie down. Let me get some house or sauce or whatever. You can say. But you want to sometimes think, oh, this is a prelude to something more serious. Yeah. So that's something, it's just good to think about these things. Yeah. So
there's also shortness of breath, sweating. Sweating is meant to be, and you do see people, they kind of go grey colour and then the sweat comes on. It's not just menopause, but yes, this is quite a serious subject, as well as feeling sick and nauseous. Or being sick.
Feeling like vomiting. Again, people might put that down because food poisoning, because that sweating, nausea, vomiting, indigestion, that's all to do with food poisoning as well. So you can see the confusion for some people if they're not quite, do you know what I mean?
Aware, if they're not aware of it. And beautiful listeners, we are talking about being aware of if someone was having a not cardiac arrest, because heart attack leads to cardiac arrest. What signs would we look out for? How could we spot that someone was having maybe a heart attack? And they're saying within the Black community, a lot of people are not confident when it comes to seeing what the signs are, knowing the signs. So we're going to go for the signs again. So a feeling of pain, pressure, heaviness, tightness or squeezing across the chest. What else, KJB? Pain in other parts of the body. It can feel as if the pain is spreading from the chest to the arms, and usually both arms, the jaw, the neck, back and tummy. What else?
We talked about lightheadedness, dizziness, obviously sweating profusely, struggling to breathe, nausea, feeling sick, maybe possibly vomiting, being sick, feeling anxious, possibly even a panic attack. And obviously it talks about coughing and wheezing, because coughing and wheezing is to do with allergies or so it's so crazy.
Knowing the symptoms. And would you know the symptoms, beautiful listeners? Would you know what to look out for? Do you think it would come quite easy that you'd know that someone was suffering in that kind of way? It's not so...
No, it's not so cut and dry, because some of those, like we just discussed, if you take away, if you isolate some of those symptoms, they could make you believe it's something else. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think, to me, if you're not sure, phone 999 or 111.
Yes.
Get advice. Say, look, this is the symptoms. Nell might say, well, possible heart attack. And then get on the phone. I think that's the most important thing. If you're not sure, seek advice.
And I recently, I must say, I'm going to let you into a little something. Last year, wasn't it, when I was in the gym?
Yes.
And it was awful. My chest, I ended up in A&E, and it was my heart. It was my heart. They said that, because of things such as high blood pressure, that your heart works over time, and it was swollen. Was it? What they said?
Enlarged.
Enlarged. That's right. It was enlarged, but it was very scary. It was so scary, and they were saying, "Oh no, you've probably just pulled a muscle in the gym."
Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay. And it wasn't a pulled muscle. It was actually something to do with my heart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that was a scary time, beautiful listeners. It got to the point I couldn't walk. We left the gym. And we walked home. Maybe that was a silly thing to do. Maybe it would have been better to call the ambulance straight away,
And I think that's the point, really, isn't it? Because there was another one. Quickly, there was another member of the family we were talking to not too long ago, and again, she was having certain signs and symptoms.
Oh,
and
wow.
She didn't realize. Remember, she didn't realize until she went in and they actually told her that this is the situation. I think she's on medication now.
Oh.
So sometimes we just don't know. But honestly, if you're unsure, seek medical advice.
Absolutely.
Rather get the ambulance out, call 111, and allay the person's fears. Because that time that you're calling and get the ambulance, that time that they come, the time you get the advice, it's critical time. That is critical time.
And the latest NHS figures show that there were more than 84,000 hospital heart attack admissions in England during 21 and 22. And that was up by more than 7,000 compared to the previous year, when fewer people came forward to care during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, people didn't come forward.
No, because they weren't allowed to. Remember, they weren't allowed admitting people unless it was something serious. They were not allowing people into hospital. A lot of people getting treatment at home or treatment in these little bubbles. I don't know what they would do, but that was the situation. So, and there's still people waiting for treatment. So some people might have gone through this and they've recovered. But
it's the recovery, isn't it? But it's knowing if you feel any of those symptoms, beautiful listeners, please, like KJV said, call 999.
Please, I beg you.
Or call 911. And if you want any more information, we have posted it in the chat box. You've got to visit nhs.uk/heart attack for more information. And I'm sure that they can definitely help in that regard, just to alleviate your fears, possibly.
And I would suggest take a first aid course. As well, because I know basic first aid gives you real general knowledge of different conditions, and the most important thing is it will give you an understanding of signs and symptoms and know what to do in that situation. Because a lot of people do panic; they will panic. But if we, like I said, if we get a bit more health education. As Black people, as an Afro-Caribbean, African community, it can only benefit ourselves, but also we could save a life.
Absolutely.
So definitely get clued up. Basic life support. So John Ambulances run it. Go online, find a course. You can do online. Please, I beg you.
So do come and join us in the chat room, beautiful listeners, and where you can find all the information. And we will see y'all in 5.